Hey, it's Jermaine. If overspending is something you struggle with, you're not alone. It's one of the biggest reasons why so many women can't build wealth, no matter how much money they make. I wanted to create something simple and accessible that helps you to finally get to the bottom of it, to understand why you overspend and give you the tools to actually stop. That's why I created the Stop Overspending course. When you learn to manage this one area, everything else changes. You get to get out of debt and stay out, save and invest tens of thousands of dollars, and spend on what truly matters to you, like vacations and experiences, with peace of mind and without feeling financially strapped afterwards. These are the same tools and concepts I use to pay off over $200,000 worth of debt and build a net worth that's just shy of $1 million. If I can do it, so can you. So if you're ready to finally stop overspending and take control of your money, head on over to jermainefoley.com/SOS. That's Jermaine with a G, Foley.com/SOS. Or simply click on the link in the show notes to learn more and to get started. You are listening to the Becoming the Wealthy You podcast with Jermaine Foley. If you're a woman who makes good money in your career or business, but you're not building wealth like you want to, then you're in the right place. In this podcast, you'll learn how to stop overspending, break free from the cycle of debt, save lots of cash, and become the wealthy woman you were born to be. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. So if you've been following along for a while, then you know that this is episode number 150 of the Becoming the Wealthy You podcast. And I'm just so excited to say that. When I first started recording, I knew that I was all in. I knew that I was committed. But wow, I can't believe I'm 150 episodes in, and I do not plan to stop any time soon. So with that, if you haven't had a chance to give the podcast a review, please head over to Apple or Spotify, wherever you listen, and give it a review. I would love to hear from you. Reviews actually help the show rank higher in places like Apple so that more people can see it. And so if you've been listening for a long time or for a short time and you're getting value out of it, I would absolutely love it if you will write a review and let me know what you think of the show so that more people can see it and so that I can hear from you all. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm just talking into a microphone, and it's always amazing when I get emails from you all, when I read the reviews, when you sign up for a consultation and I'm actually able to meet you in person. Like, those things really, really matter to me because it shows me that I'm not just speaking into a microphone. I am talking to real people who are having real challenges building wealth, even though they make good money. And it just lights me up to know that this message is resonating and that it is really helping you. So again, I'll ask if you are liking the podcast, if it has helped you at all, please review it and also share it with your friends, with your family, with your coworkers, so that more people can learn about the show. Now, if you've been following along for the last few weeks, then you know that we've been walking through each pillar of my Do Both method, which is the framework I use to help my private coaching clients build wealth and enjoy life at the same time. Now, if you've missed the earlier episodes, I encourage you to go back and listen to episodes 146 through 149 after you listen to this one. That's where I covered the first three pillars, which are all about the importance of having a vision for what you want your life to look like, really getting clear on what you actually want and desire. And then we looked into values-based spending, why it's so important to know what's important to you so that you can spend on things that matter and stop spending on things that don't. And then last week, which was episode 149, we dove into emotional spending, which is all about emotional money management and how they all work together to change the way you handle your money. Now, today we're talking about the fourth pillar, which is mastering what I call the 5 core areas of money. And those are income, spending, debt, saving, and investing. Now, here's the truth. Most of the women that I work with have 1, 2, or maybe even 3 of these areas working for you. And the rest, though, are leaking. That's why I like to use the analogy of a wealth building bucket, right? So imagine your finances as a big bucket. For most women I work with, the income hole is sealed really, really tight. The money is coming in. You have figured out how to make money either in your career or your business. That is not your issue. For some people, income is an issue, but not the women I work with. The women I work with make good money, but they're not building wealth, okay? Now, there are other leaks, though, in other areas, either in the savings area, the spending area, the debt area, or the investing area. So no matter how much money you make, right? No matter how much money pours in, it keeps spilling out. That's why you can feel so frustrated with your finances, like you just can't figure it out no matter how hard you try. It's usually because of one of the areas, the 5 core areas, are out of whack, right? And when we work together, when I work with my clients, I don't just help you build a system or to make a plan or to make a budget. That's not what I do. I help you to actually change the way you handle your money. We work together to start plugging all of these leaks I'm talking about. That creates structure and it lets your money accumulate so that you can actually build wealth and enjoy your life at the same time. Now, when you do not address what I'm going to share with you today, the 5 core areas of money, if you keep letting money just leak out through one of these areas, there's a real cost to not addressing this. The money will come in, but it will just continue to go right back out. Sure, you're not failing, you're not doing that bad, but you're not thriving either. You're not building wealth either. And you're definitely not creating financial freedom. So I really want you to let that sink in. Yeah, you're not that bad, right? Your finances are okay, but you work too hard for your finances to just be okay, right? You want to thrive. You want to create financial freedom so that one day you can be work optional. So one day you can decide, like, if I'm ready to leave a relationship, I have the money to do so. If I want to take a sabbatical from work, I have the resources to do so. But you will not get to that place if the 5 core areas of money are not working together. You need all 5 of them working. So if 2, 3, or more are leaking, you will not be able to build wealth like you deserve to do. So if that's not okay with you, if you're like, no, this is not how I want to live my life, and you're ready to get guidance, support, and have accountability, someone by your side to help you change this for good, then I want to invite you to book a wealth building strategy consultation. That is a free complimentary call where we'll get on Zoom and we'll look at where you are financially, where you want to be, and what's preventing you from getting there. And I'll help you to identify exactly where your leaks are and help you to understand what you need to do to plug them. And if it's a fit for us to work together to make it happen so that you can get that support, guidance, and accountability, then I will let you know exactly how to do that. All you have to do is go to jermainefoley.com/consult to book one of your sessions, or simply click on the link in the show notes. Every single month, I open up brand new spots for new private coaching clients. And the way to get one of them is through these consultations. So again, all you have to do is go to jermainefoley.com/consult, or simply click the link in the show notes. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the first core area of money, which is income. Now, I've said this already, but I'll say it again. The women that I specialize in working with usually have this part under control. They're earning 6 figures or very close to it, or even multiple 6 figures in either their career or their business. But even with that strong income, there's often this quiet thought in the back of their mind. I should be further along by now. I hear it all the time. You beat yourself up. You're concerned because it's like, I'm making this money. I'm making all this money, but look where I am. Look at how much I have in investments. Look at how much I have saved. Look at all this debt that I have. Look at how much I spend every month on random things that I can't even remember. I don't even see retirement in my future at all. And with that, you just feel like you should be so much further along by now based on how much money you make. It's like there's this frustration, maybe even shame or embarrassment that you are doing so well on paper, yet you can't seem to figure out how to thrive financially, right? You want to go beyond being just okay and surviving to like really thriving. And when you really understand like how much money is coming into your life, it's literally just slipping through your fingers. It's going into your bucket, but it is leaking back out. When you really think about that, there is a big cost of not addressing it. You end up working harder and harder thinking that the answer to your money problems is making more money. But I promise you, if you make good money already, more money is not going to fix your money problems. It'll just continue to leak out just like all the other income you have. You'll constantly be chasing the next raise, the next bonus, thinking that that will fix it, but it doesn't. Because if your systems aren't working, more money just, like I said, it just disappears. It just slips through your fingers. However, when your good income is connected to an intentional system or plan like the one that I teach, the one that we've been walking through, the do both method over the last several weeks, then everything starts to change. Your money starts working for you instead of you constantly working for your money. Okay, so the next core area is spending. Spending is where everything either moves forward or falls completely apart. We talked a lot about this in the last episode, which was episode 149. It was all about managing your money by managing your emotions. So overspending often isn't just about money. It's about emotions. It's about control. It's about comfort and relief. When everything else feels outside of your control, like your job, your kids, your schedule, spending can sometimes feel like the one thing you can control. And that control feels really good for about 5 minutes. And then the excitement fades, the control that you felt like you had fades away, and what is left is clutter, less money, and stress, right? The same stress you were trying to avoid, you just create through overspending. So the cost of not getting this piece under control is when you get those big client payments or bonuses, instead of being able to build wealth with that money or do something really fabulous with that money, like go on a 5-star vacation, you are always cleaning up your mess, cleaning up the credit card debt you got into, right? You never get to use that money for things that you really want. It's always used to clean up past mistakes. And here's the thing. I want you to remember something about me. I've said it before. I need to say it again. I am not about going on a strict budget. I do not believe that you should save every penny and stop spending and be frugal or any of those things. I believe you should spend on what you love, but you have to do it intentionally. I think you should spend on what matters and stop spending on what doesn't. So I teach my clients to decide every single month an amount of money that they get to spend however they want based on the season of life they're in, how much they want to allocate towards those things, their financial goals, and everything else. So you get an amount of money every single month that you can spend however you want. That's the only boundary. The amount is the only boundary or stipulation. What you choose to spend it on can be very spontaneous, right? And when you have that amount of money, you get to spend it guilt-free because you know that everything else is taken care of. This is how you get control of your spending. You choose an amount that you can spend however you want every single month, and then you free up money that is not allocated towards spending to do other things with, like build wealth, like enjoy your life and take care of your family. Okay, so now let's go on to the third core area of money, which is debt. Debt is one of the heaviest financial weights you can carry, not just because of how much you owe, but because of how it makes you feel. Debt can just feel heavy. It makes people stress. It makes people feel like they're out of control. And it's something that a lot of women come to me wanting to free themselves from. And it's something that a lot of women come to me because they want to free themselves from the cycle of debt. And here's what's very interesting about paying off debt. Most of you know how to pay off debt. That's easy. You've done it several times. Some of you have paid off the same credit card balance 2, 3, maybe more times. So you know how to pay off debt. It's staying out of debt that is your issue. And that is what we change in my private coaching. Not only will you get out of debt, but I teach you how to stay out of it through changing your relationship with debt, through changing your thoughts about debt, and by mastering these 5 core areas of money. Because if you master the 5 core areas of money and you embrace the entire Dubo framework, you don't need to go into debt. Debt is not something that you need to rely on once you get all these other things under control. So for this episode, when we are talking about debt, let's just talk about the main reasons why I see people constantly going back into debt. First is because of overspending, right? You use debt, credit cards to buy things when you're bored, when you're stressed, like it's just your escape. And then you end up racking up the balance to 10K or more. And then you end up, paying it off with a windfall or a bonus, or when you get a big client payment, you pay it off. Or sometimes you go into deeper debt to pay it off. You transfer it to a 0% interest transfer credit card, which is very risky. Or maybe you take out like a 401k loan, again, which is very risky because you risk going into deeper debt, double the debt, because you haven't addressed the cause of the debt in the first place. So you can transfer it, then you free up that old credit card, and now you can spend that. So you've got the debt you transferred, plus you have the ability to build up the same debt over again in this now freed up credit card. The other issue is you have no emergency fund. So every hiccup, everything that life throws at you, because life will life, you end up putting it on a credit card. And sometimes those are big expenses that you can't just pay off in a month. So you're using your credit card as your emergency fund. And that is definitely not something you want to do. And then the third reason is because you don't have any clear boundaries around what actually goes on your credit card versus what doesn't, right? So for me, I only have a few things that I put on my credit card. Everything else I use my debit card for. So when I'm spending money throughout the month, remember I talked about, I think that everybody should have an amount they can spend however they want. I spend that through my debit card. I do not put those expenses on my credit card. I usually pay my bills with my credit card, buy groceries with my credit card, and then at the end of the month, that money has been already set aside and I just pay it off. So I'm not carrying a balance. But when you put any and everything on your credit card, everything goes on it, then you overspend, then you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough to pay it off. And so that's how you end up in revolving credit card debt. So there is a big cost to staying in this cycle as well. I want you to think about this. You work hard. You go to work every single day. You have a business. You work hard in your business or in your career. And every single time you get paid, every time you bring money home, a big chunk of that money isn't even yours. The past you has already spent it. And now when you get that money, you have to send it out to credit card companies every single month. Every bonus check, every commission check, every new client payment, or any windfall that you get gets eaten up by past decisions instead of being able to build the future you truly want. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do to break this cycle is to literally just stop using your credit cards, to go on a debt diet, to stop using your credit cards for a while so that you can rebuild your habits, rewire your brain, and strengthen your discipline. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't not to be able to use credit cards. Like, I love using credit cards, but I want you to be in a position where you can use them and not have them be using you. And so sometimes you just need to cut off using cards so that you can get back in control and rebuild trusting yourself with credit cards again. If you've been listening and realizing that money is the one area you just can't seem to figure out, even though you're successful everywhere else, hear me when I say this. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that traditional money advice wasn't made for women like you. Women who earn good money, want to build wealth, and still enjoy their lives. My clients all start where you are, paying off the same credit cards over and over again, saving up to a certain amount only to spend it back down, or feeling like based on their income, they should be so much further along by now. But with my help, they change all of that. One client paid off over $11,000 in credit card debt and never ran it back up again. Another saved $5,000 in just 2 months. And another went on multiple vacations without going back into credit card debt. They are not special unicorns. They're women just like you, great at making money and ready to finally get great at not only enjoying it, but also keeping it and growing it. So if you've been listening and thinking she's talking directly to me, this invitation is for you. Don't keep pushing this off. You and I can fix this together, privately, safely, and without judgment. All you have to do is go to jermainefoley.com/consult to book your wealth building strategy consultation or click on the link in the show notes. Let's finally get you unstuck with money. Okay, so now let's go on to the fourth core area of money, which is saving. Saving money isn't just about money. It's about peace of mind and security. It's what lets you exhale and just be like, oh, I know that I'm covered. Like, it just gives you this sense of security that you know that if something happens with your car, with your house, with your kids, with something you can't even imagine, you're good. I remember a few years ago, we had a big storm and our basement egress window, something happened with it where water just rushed into our spare bedroom in the basement down there. We could have never imagined that. It was not covered by homeowners insurance, but because we had cash, right? I was not happy that it happened, but I didn't feel panicked or stressed about it. I knew that we could handle it, right? And it's like, you just sometimes can't even imagine what life will throw at you, but you want to be prepared for it because it will happen. Something's going to happen. And so what I really want to get across to you today is that saving money isn't going to just happen. Like, it's a skill that you have to build. And for a lot of women, we have a ceiling to what we're used to having. That might be $2,000, $5,000, or maybe 10, right? And every time we get anything above that, something comes up and we spend the money down. Our accounts drop again. So we've got to really get to a place where we are expanding our skill of saving and having money, right? So if you're comfortable having 5,000 or 7,000 or 10,000, but you really want 30 because you know based on how much you make and the lifestyle you have, you need more than that, then we need to work on expanding your financial comfort zone so that every time you get past your ceiling, I'm using air quotes, you don't just spend it back down, right? So you have to expand your comfort level of having more than 5K or 10K. And so this is why some of you can't seem to break past it, because it's just a zone, a comfort zone that you're in. And when you don't break that zone, you'll always be one emergency away from going back into debt. And when that happens, you pay for the same emergency, not just once, but twice, because you pay for it with the credit cards. And then you got the interest that compounds. And so you end up paying even more than what the emergency cost you. And it just costs you that mental peace of mind knowing that I'm secure, I'm free, I've got liquid cash available to me. So if I need it, I'm good. Like, it's costing you your peace of mind as well. Because when you have real savings, you gain freedom, you gain options, right? You get to take a break from work if you need to, go on that sabbatical that I talked about earlier. You can switch jobs if things are not going well. If you're like, I need out of here, I can take some time to actually take a break from this and find something else. If you are in a bad relationship, you set yourself up to really be able to take a break from that and start over again if you need to. And you get to know that you're in the position to take care of yourself and your family without it being an issue. Okay, so now let's tackle the fifth and final core area of money, and that is investing. This is where your money starts working for you instead of you just always working for the money. So when you're working, you're trading time for money, which is totally fine. We all do it. But when you invest, you're letting a portion of your money work for you and multiply even while you're sleeping instead of letting it just disappear, right? So of course, some of your money is going to disappear. You're going to spend some of your money, but it is so important that a chunk of the money that you make is put to work to make more money for you. That is how wealth is built. And most of the women that I work with are investing at some level. They're getting their 401k match, maybe maxing out their retirement, or they're investing in a self-employed IRA. And that is an excellent start, but it's just the beginning. Wealth building really happens when you move beyond the basics. Okay, so now let's look at the cost of delaying investing, because that's what a lot of us do. We tell ourselves we have time. We tell ourselves we'll get to it later. And we miss out on the eighth wonder of the world, which is compounding interest, because it's not about how much money you put in. It's more about how much time you put in, how much time you're giving your money to actually compound and grow. Okay? Because you cannot get those years back. There are so many calculators you can use, and you can look at, okay, if I start when I'm 20, putting $100 a month into the market, how much will I have by the time I'm 60? It is so much more than if you are putting $1,000 in and you start when you're 40, right? Because you give yourself so much time for that money to compound, even though you're putting in a lot less when you start earlier. Now, I know many of us didn't start when we were 20. I know I didn't, but that's just an example. So don't delay, and don't tell yourself you can't afford to do it. Just start. Because when you don't, you're losing out on time. You're going to be working way longer than you want to, and you're going to be missing out on the goodness of what I call legacy wealth, wealth that is beyond yourself, right? Helping your kids, if you have them, buy a home, helping your nieces and nephews or anybody that's important, godchildren that's important in your life, helping them to get off to a faster start, giving really, really nice wedding gifts to them when they're ready to get married, right? Having the ability to fund your grandkids' college, having the ability to take your kids and their children and their spouses on really, really nice vacations, being able to do what matters to you, you being able to see the world, travel the world, and not be tied to your 9 to 5 longer than you want to, right? This gives you freedom and options. And when you ignore the 5 core areas of money, you eliminate those options. You eliminate the choices. By default, you just eliminate them. They're not even yours because you have to keep working because you didn't do the things that I'm talking about today. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. So the reason why I'm sharing not only the 5 core areas, but I want you to see there's a cost associated with not doing these things. I know a lot of times people will reach out to me and they'll ask me, how much does it cost to work with you? And I tell them, people focus on what does it cost to get coaching, right? But they don't focus on what is the cost of not getting it? What is the cost of staying the same? What is the cost of continuing to live the way I'm living? That's the real cost. And the other thing that I think people think about is okay, the worst that can happen. What's the worst that can happen? They think, that I'll spend the money, I'll invest in coaching, and nothing will change, right? It won't work for me. And honestly, that's not the worst thing that could happen. The worst thing that can happen is that you don't do it and you miss out on what would have been if you did go all in on yourself. Because I'm all in. For my clients, I go hard in the paint. That's a basketball term when you're really playing heavy defense in the paint on a basketball court. I go hard for my clients in the paint. I don't let them just disappear on me. I don't let them drift off. I go hard for my clients. I'm there for them 100%, 1,000%. And if they can show up with just a portion of that energy for themselves, then we're good to go. And so that's the worst thing that can happen, is that you don't even give yourself the chance, because you're going to spend the money anyway. The amount that I charge for coaching really isn't that much money. It really isn't. It's probably more than you've ever spent before on your own personal development, because some of you have never invested beyond college, like learning new things, developing yourself and in your own growth. But I promise you, it's the best money you'll ever spend, right? And so that money, if you choose the payment plan or not, you are going to spend it anyway. And for some of you, it's going to be on stuff that you won't even be able to remember a few weeks or months after you buy it. But you could choose to spend that money on something that could change your life. So if that's you, if you're ready for something different, if you're ready to change your life, if you're ready to go hard in the paint for yourself with me right by your side, then you're invited to book your complimentary wealth building strategy consultation. All you have to do is go to jermainefoley.com/consult. That's Jermaine with a G. Or you can go to the show notes and click the link. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Hey, if money is the one area of life you just can't seem to figure out, even though you make good money, you're not alone. That's why you're invited to book a complimentary one-to-one money consultation with me, so that we can figure out how to solve your biggest money challenges. To sign up, simply go to jermainefoley.com/consult or check out the show notes. Hope to meet you soon.